Meanwhile, the rhetoric from the White House regarding Portland continues its drumbeat of doom and gloom despite what we're seeing here at home. Both President Trump and Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller talked about the Rose City on Monday, bringing up the federal judge's weekend rulings that blocked the National Guard deployment.
You look at what's happened with Portland over the years, it's a burning hellhole, and then you have a judge that lost her way, that tries to pretend that like there's no problem. Actually, she's not even saying that. There's a huge problem in Portland. I'll tell you what the problem is: crime.
ICE officers should have to work in a federal building every single day where there are attacks going in, there are attacks going out, where every night there has to be street battle against armed insurrectionists every single night, night after night after night. That's normal. You ask why we need the National Guard, why we need troops? Because it takes hundreds of additional personnel, far beyond the resources of the federal officials working in Portland, to hold and secure a perimeter to provide freedom of movement.
The president was also openly talking about the potential use of the Insurrection Act if his efforts to deploy National Guard troops to U.S. cities continue to be blocked.
Well, I'd do it if it was necessary. So far it hasn't been necessary, but we have an Insurrection Act for a reason. If I had to enact it, I'd do that. If people were being killed and courts were holding us up, or governors or mayors were holding us up, sure, I'd do that. I mean, I want to make sure that people aren't killed. We have to make sure that our cities are safe.
Okay, now it's important to note the differences between the Title 10 12406 authority that the president is trying to use to federalize the National Guard to Portland and what the Insurrection Act would do. The Insurrection Act is a much larger step forward in regards to federal intervention on U.S. soil. It allows federal troops to engage in domestic law enforcement activities, like making arrests and performing searches. While that Title 10 authority prohibits the National Guard from doing things like that, but does allow them to help protect federal officers and property. We did this exercise last night with the Title 10 12406 law, but let's read the actual language of the Insurrection Act to understand the context here. Quote, whenever the president considers that unlawful obstructions, combinations, or assemblages or rebellion against the authority of the United States make it impracticable to enforce the laws of the United States in any state by the ordinary course of judicial proceedings, he may call into federal service such of the militia of any state and use such of the armed forces as he considers necessary to enforce those laws or to suppress the rebellion. And according to the president yesterday, he's not ruling out using the law, at least at this point. The Insurrection Act was last used in 1992 during the deadly LA riots following the acquittal of 4 LA police officers in the beating of Rodney King. But in that case, California's governor requested military aid from then President George H.W. Bush.